good to be back at Holy Comforter with you this morning in so many ways. We're family, and it's just wonderful to see so many familiar faces. It's humbling to see the familiar face at the keyboard who is now a college freshman and to realize how very old I am. But it is so wonderful, wonderful to be back here with family. We are family, and that's a good thing. The family that is the Episcopal Church is truly a beautiful thing. It's one of the things I treasure about it. Wherever we go, whether we go overseas or in our summer travels, if we vacation somewhere across the United States or wherever we might be and visit friends and relatives, we can find a church where things are very familiar. My wife, Virginia, and I, we have visited in this past year at least 3 times, I believe, at Trinity Episcopal Church in Columbus, Georgia, where our daughter sings in the choir and is in school at Columbus State. It's a different church, and it's even in a different diocese. But when we are there, we're home. It feels so very comfortable. It's very familiar, because of the beauty of God's Spirit and the beauty of our tradition that is found in the liturgy of the Book of Common Prayer. It's home because we are Episcopalians, part of the vast and sometimes very curious family of God. The liturgy of the Book of Common Prayer can comfort and make things seem familiar even in a different place. And so as she is literally in a different place, I'm very thankful to our sister Cindy for her trust in me to be standing here before you this morning. Because you know, God knows, the world knows how much she loves you and this place. And for her to put trust in me is quite a gift. She's bestowed that upon me, and I'm very grateful to her in her absence this morning. She has trusted me to come and lead you and to celebrate with you. And that's exactly what we do every time we come into church, in the Episcopal Church, for worship. The common theme of divine love and resurrection hope is our great family reunion theme. We truly are, this is in quotes, all one body, we. I tried to Google those words to find one particular tune, William, that I couldn't remember. I don't remember if it's a hymn or if it's an anthem. I'm not putting you on the spot, so don't worry. But whether it's a hymn or an anthem, I can't be sure that I was thinking of, and as I tried to find those words, a whole bunch of things popped up. I found those words in numerous places. And so I just waved the white flag and gave up trying to find the one particular theme I wanted. But all one body, we, is out there in abundance for us to research and think about. All one body, we. I've journeyed with the wonderful people of Holy Comforter for many years. I remember Sunday evening services as we gathered at the river and unpacked a trailer that was already unpacked by the time I got there. We worshiped together. It got packed back into the trailer, and the week went on. And church and ministry continued to go on throughout Augusta until the next Sunday evening. You remember those days, many of you. And some of you I know from those days, and some of you I may not know at all. And yet we are all part of the family of God. We've all come a long way, and the journey has mostly been good. We've also gotten wounded along the way. As a denomination, we have corporate scars. We all certainly have various individual scars. Some literal, some deeply emotional, or perhaps spiritual. When that's happened, we've needed help. When those wounds were inflicted, and thanks be to God, we've gotten it. Some are still seeking help for wounds, and perhaps that's why you've come here today. The good news as part of God's gospel is that there is a balm in Gilead. Today in Luke 10, in the very familiar parable of the Good Samaritan, Jesus asks the question, who acted like the neighbor? The answer, of course, we know, is the one who showed mercy. The one who showed mercy and who risked getting hurt, giving help. We are all called to be Good Samaritans. How can we give the needed help to those we find on the side of the road? Themes for today that we hear in the other appointed scripture readings. There's one theme that says from the 25th Psalm, "Show me your ways, Lord, teach me your paths." When the Lord shows us the way, we can help those who are wounded beside the road. In order to walk on God's path and to know which way God would have us to travel, we need light. Silly nickname for yours truly is the Midnight Marauder, because I've learned, like my maternal grandfather, to keep a flashlight nearby in the nighttime. Can't tell you how many times I've kicked my foot, and I got tired of that. So if I have to get up in the middle of the night, I'm going to turn on a flashlight to show the way. And I can remember that being a family trait. And it's a weird way of preventing broken toes, but also nightly resurrecting my grandfather. We need light, and Paul reminds us that God has rescued us from the dominion of darkness. That is found in Colossians 1, verse 13. And from the old law, from Deuteronomy, in the 30th chapter, verse 14, God's word says, the word is very near. We think of neighbor and neighborhood, and we need to be constantly reminded that our neighbor is very near us, too. Is that where God is found, in our neighbors? I think so. And I find it so very hard sometimes. I don't know about you. But I find it very hard to love neighbors who don't cut their grass the way that I want them to. I think you can relate based on just what I've heard. I find it hard to love neighbors like I'm supposed to do. And let's not even get started on family members, but get a quick picture in your mind of those family members, and you know the ones I'm talking about. The ones you just don't know what to do with. The ones you dread seeing at holidays, and who might dread seeing you. It's hard, this business of neighbor and family. And colleagues, we all have those work friends and people that maybe aren't friends, but you have to see them every day, and it's tough trying to figure out, how do I love them the way that I love myself? May we all take a really good look and listen to the words found in the confession that we make every time we worship. We have not loved our neighbors as ourselves. We have not. And we need to constantly pray about it and work on it. In our individual and corporate pain, how do we truly find holy comfort today here at Holy Comforter? Anthony DeMello writes, has it ever struck you that those who most fear to die are the ones who most fear to live? Life is flexible and free, and you are rigid and frozen. Life carries all things away, and you crave stability and permanence. You fear life and death because you cling. You cannot bear the thought of losing a relative or friend. You dread losing a pet theory or ideology or belief. When you cling to nothing, when you have no fear of losing anything, then you are free to flow like a mountain stream that is always fresh and sparkling and alive. May we allow ourselves to be set free this morning in service to God and our neighbor. And acknowledge with this wounded preacher what he needs to know. I need and we need God to do what God alone can do. And then dare to ask the question with me. Does God need us? Does God need us? We need God to pick us up from the side of the road where we have been left bleeding, left beaten, left untouchable. We need God to pick us up from that desperate state. Does God need us wounded as we are, lying in the ditch, if you will? I believe God does. God needs us wounded healers to get up and to help others who are hurting as well. God needs us, saved as we are by God alone, to continue the story that we hear in today's gospel of the Good Samaritan. You see, no Good Samaritan story would exist if an otherwise so-called outcast, you don't belong here, you don't have proper papers, you don't need to be here at all, wait your turn, untouchable, had not stepped up and done what we say we believe we are called as Christians to do. My family, it matters. It matters this July 14th, which side we're on. And let's get over to the side of the road to help the wounded starving, the wounded thirsty, the wounded bleeding souls who are looking for Jesus, people to start acting like Jesus. Amen.
Amen.